AAC Myths, Part 1. We communicate for a variety of reasons. To ask for things, to comment on things, to say that we don't want something, to give information, to be social, and for many more reasons. We know that AAC can be a critical intervention for those that need support communicating for some or all of these communicative functions. All individuals have the right to communication. This right to communication and use of AAC is sometimes blocked with barriers. One of these barriers are false belief systems that people may hold on to. There are a few myths that surface more than others. In this presentation, we will address 2 of the top 4 myths that seem to be most prevalent. Myth number 1, AAC will keep a person from talking with natural speech. A fear that some professionals and parents may have is that AAC will prevent the communicator from talking with natural speech. They may think that the person will use AAC as a crutch and not put effort into using their mouth words. They assume that AAC should not be used if there is a chance that mouth words will develop at some point in the future. The fact is, research shows that the use of AAC does not negatively affect the development of speech. Instead, it can help support the use of speech. An AAC communicator may start to repeat words after the speech-generating device, or they may start to use AAC to augment their sentences as their mouth words continue to develop. While each AAC communicator will have a different journey, it is safe to say that AAC will not prevent them from using natural speech if they can. This is especially true when AAC partners, including teachers and caregivers, support a multimodal approach to communication. This means that when the AAC communicator does use mouth words, this is accepted by the communication partner. The communicator should not be required to say it again using their device if their mouth words were understood. This will assure the communicator that speech is valued as much as AAC use. A review of the related research completed in 2008 determined that AAC increased the AAC user's ability to speak words. Although the gains in use of natural speech were not great, this does support the truth that AAC does not stop a person from using speech if they can. Using AAC is not easy. It is a skill that involves scanning, selecting, composing, and delivering a message using symbols. In general, it is much easier to speak than it is to use AAC. We know that individuals will use the easiest method of communication, whether it be words, AAC, or behaviors. Myth number 2, a child can be too young for AAC. Our second myth is one that looks at readiness for AAC. Some may wonder if there is a perfect age to introduce AAC. This leads to the fear that if introduced too early, it will be too difficult for the child to learn. However, unlike academic tasks, there is no age that is too early to introduce communication. The fact is, there are no requirements to meet before introducing AAC. In typical language development, babies are immersed in language from the moment they are born. This same philosophy is applied to a child that may need AAC. We can introduce AAC receptively at a young age because the future communicator only needs to see AAC being modeled. In addition, as the communicator grows and begins to develop expressive language, they will need a system that will allow them to say words and put words together to make sentences. If their natural speech is not sufficient enough to perform this task, then AAC will be their opportunity to begin to use language. There is no evidence suggesting that children must be a certain chronological age to optimally benefit from AAC interventions. This statement from these researchers plainly explains that AAC can be introduced at any age, including toddlers and preschoolers. The key takeaways from the research debunking these 2 myths is that the use of AAC is an evidence-based intervention appropriate for all age levels and will not stop speech from developing. AAC is not a last resort, and there is no reason to wait. Here are the full references for the research cited in this presentation, along with a few links to articles with additional supporting research.